Hello, I hope you can hear me. This is Amber from LoveFit and She, and it's week 36 of my Healthy Happy Pregnancy series. And right towards the end of the pregnancy, I'm trying a different tactic here with a very, very short, small PowerPoint presentation. So hopefully this recording has worked because I'm not the most technological person in the world, but anyway. So this is just a short presentation about nutrition for the last month of pregnancy. And I noticed that actually I haven't really spoken much about nutrition in my videos. It's something I very much cover in depth with my clients right through their pregnancy, and hopefully it goes without saying, I think I did touch on it right at the beginning in my kind of first trimester roundup, that pregnancy is not a time, contrary to popular belief, to just eat whatever rubbish you like because, hey, I'm going to gain weight anyway. In fact, it's the most important time to eat really well because you are growing a human being, and you owe it to them and to yourself to feel good and look after your baby and give them the best possible start. I should also hasten to add that the fact of the matter is your body will naturally always try to make sure your baby gets the best nutrition possible. So if you do eat particularly badly, the baby will get all the good nutrition. And likewise with breastfeeding, your breast milk tends to be unaltered by what you eat because your body will do everything it can to make sure the baby is getting the best of it, but it's you who will suffer. And you've got enough on your plate anyway without suffering, and you kind of owe it to yourself to eat well. So throughout the pregnancy you should be eating healthily. You should be filling up on good quality foods, not eating too much rubbish, not using it as an excuse to just live off takeaways and chocolate. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't had some chocolate cravings myself, but there you go. So just try to look after yourself and be sensible. Now, when it comes to the final month of pregnancy, so we're kind of talking from 35 weeks on. I'm now 36 weeks. When it gets to that final month, this is really when you kind of start to prep your system and your tissue for birth and labour and beyond. And actually, recent studies, a lot of the science now shows that in the last month of pregnancy, the baby does actually start to receive part of the mum's microbiome. So that's to say they're kind of the setup of their gut health, their immunity, and everything that's going to stay with them and shape them really for the rest of their lives. It was previously thought the babies only took that on after birth, but actually, it's now proven that in the last month, that's when they do start to take on that microbiome from their mother, which means this is actually a really crucial time to eat particularly well. And again, a lot of people kind of think, well, at this stage, 36 weeks, 37 weeks, the baby is basically full term from 37 weeks. It's cooked, so to speak. So no need to worry too much about what you're eating. But actually, this is the time that your baby's starting to really take their nutrition directly from you. So lots of things to consider. So without further ado, let's just run through these. So very short, it's literally just one page here for you. Nutrition for pregnancy at the kind of 35 plus weeks. So first and foremost, probiotics. Good gut flora is all down to good probiotics. So this can be whether you're taking a probiotic supplement, which I have been throughout my pregnancy along with a pregnancy multivitamin, but as well as other kind of fermented products are generally considered good. So things like kefir and natural live yogurt, if you can tolerate some cow's milk products. I don't massively recommend tons of cow's milk, as you all know, for various reasons, but if you aren't lactose intolerant, then kefir and live yogurt are good sources, as well as things like sauerkraut, miso soup. Anything that's fermented is a good probiotic, as well as supplementing. And that's really because that, as I say, that's all to do with the babies starting to form their microbiome. So definitely eat probiotics. Then this kind of goes throughout the pregnancy, but even more so in this last month, anti-inflammatory, nutrient dense. This should just be everybody's principle for life. And really all I mean by this is just eat real, good, honest food. Not too much stuff out of packets, not takeaways, not things filled with goodness knows how many unpronounceable ingredients. Real food. So steer clear of too much sugar. As I say, you're bound to have some sugar. There might be bits of cake floating around at NCT classes or with your friends, and certainly once you're on maternity leave. And the odd bit of cake and stuff is fine. I'm not saying thou shalt not have anything, but try not to make that the kind of bulk of your diet. So avoiding lots of refined wheat, sugar, and instead opting for really good nutritional, high quality food. So lots of real food, meat, as long as you eat meat and fish, lots of lovely vegetables, good whole grains, eggs, anything that once walked, swam, grew in the ground, all of that kind of stuff. Just use your common sense, but that's where you want to go. Then increased carbohydrate. This is basically because obviously you need extra energy. Most people find they're tired. Your baby at this point is still going to keep laying on fat and growing, so you need to keep your energy up. But also because you essentially see this as carb loading like you would for any other kind of marathon event. Your labour is going to be demanding on your body. No matter how good a birth you have, it's still going to be physically demanding. So start to increase your carbohydrates. And this doesn't mean eating massive doorstop sandwiches and burgers necessarily. What we're looking at is obviously choosing high quality carbohydrates, so sweet potatoes, buckwheat, rice, a little bit of extra fruit. All of these things are going to help you carb load. Then also increasing your good fats. And again, this is fairly standard. We're talking, the kind of things I mean: avocado, oil, nuts, fish, coconut milk, all that kind of stuff. This is crucial throughout your pregnancy because obviously fats are going to help with the hormones and also with the baby's brain development. But again, towards the end of the pregnancy, you just want to be making sure you're laying down good fat ready for breastfeeding. Iron is a bit of a funny one. It is recommended that you eat good sources of iron during the end of your pregnancy, because obviously during the labour and post-birth you are going to bleed a lot. So because of that blood loss, you do need iron. So lots of dark leafy green veggies, walnuts and almonds are good sources, and obviously meat. If you don't eat meat, then really do make sure you are taking in lots of those nuts and green veggies. But iron tablets often aren't the best idea in late pregnancy. So rather than taking multivitamins with tons of iron in, you're better off trying to get that through natural sources. Dates. You'll notice I've put a question mark here. Dates are, well, obviously, if you are constipated, any kind of dried fruit is going to help with that. I've been very lucky that I seem to be one of few pregnant women who has had no constipation and no heartburn. But thankfully, I have escaped that, so there you go. But dates, there is a small study, and it is only small, so, that's my caveat. But there's some minor evidence to show that women who ate kind of up to 4 dates daily, you probably don't want to eat too many more than that for obvious reasons, are more likely to have the correct order of waters breaking and labour. So in some cases, women's water breaks before they're actually in labour, and this can cause complications because generally the medical professionals and midwives will get a little bit twitchy and want to induce you if you don't kind of go into labour within 12 hours of your waters breaking. This is just due to risk of infection and various other things, so I won't go into that too much. The ideal is that you go into labour starting with contractions and your waters break at some point during your labour, usually towards the end of the sort of first stage of labour, and sometimes actually not until that second stage. Some babies occasionally are even born still in their amniotic sac, although that's quite rare. So anyway, the study, let's say a small study, did show that women who ate up to 4 dates daily were less likely to have their waters break early. So, and as I say, it's good for keeping the bowels moving. So why not have a few dates? And then finally, hydration. It goes without saying you need to be well hydrated. Generally, it's good for your tissues. Most of your body is made up of water, so you're going to help support your body and your muscles. Something's ringing. Let me turn that off. Sorry about that interruption. Yes, so hydration, very, very important, I'd say, for muscle and tissue preparation. Also because a lot of people, their amniotic fluid starts to go down a little bit at this stage, so it's worth keeping well hydrated. Lots and lots of water, lots of herbal teas, trying to avoid too much caffeine just because that tends to have a diuretic effect, as you all know. And then raspberry leaf tea, it's one of those things, some people consider it to be an old wives' tale. basically, don't worry about it inducing labour. You're not going to drink 1 cup and give birth spontaneously. Although, funnily enough, a friend of mine did actually literally have 1 cup, I think 2 nights before her due date. So she was about 39 plus 5. She decided to have a cup, and at 4 o'clock the following morning, her contractions started and her little boy was born the following day. But yes, needless to say, that is a coincidence as opposed to the effect of the raspberry leaf tea. Like anything, it takes a while to build up in your system. Now, the reason it's recommended, and there, again, there are studies that prove this. It isn't just an old wives' tale, but the raspberry leaf tea, not just raspberry fruit tea, helps the muscle tone of the uterus. So it tends to mean a slightly easier birth, usually a shorter pushing stage, and just helps for more efficient contractions. It essentially helps the muscle tone of the uterus. So that's really the reason for having it, but it does take a while to build up, in the same way that, not that I'm recommending this, but if you were a bodybuilder and you started taking creatine, the first time you have some creatine, you're not going to wake up the next morning and suddenly be absolutely ripped and looking like the Hulk. It's going to take a while to take effect, and it's the same with raspberry leaf tea. So when should you take it? Well, I've been doing a lot of research into this and trying to find some concrete evidence. There isn't any that kind of has a specific deadline, but really, I mean, it seems to be that a lot of midwives say from 32 weeks is fine, because and some midwives say, yeah, people don't take it early enough. They're so worried about going into spontaneous early labour that they don't take it enough to actually have any effect, because it does need several weeks to build up in your system, which is why I've kind of included it here at the 35 plus weeks, and that seems to be the general consensus. So you can take it from, say, 32 weeks if you want. Like anything, start with 1 cup a day and then increase. I'm just starting to take mine now at 36 weeks. So I'll be having a cup a day for the next week, and then I'll probably increase it to 2 cups a day after that. And if I do go into spontaneous labour, I will let you know. But the plan is, this is just helping prepare my uterus ready for some, hopefully, slightly better managed contractions. So there you go. There's the kind of nutshell for your last month of pregnancy. I do hope that's helpful, and I will be back next week with some more physical stuff to show you for week 37. So it's all starting to hot up now. Hope you are well, and thank you as always for listening. Okay, bye-bye.